Hello, welcome to the Lundquist Real Estate Podcast. My name is Keanu Rish. I'm here with Mayor Scott Long, and we're just going to have a discussion about real estate, what's going on in the community. Real quick, you're born and raised in Wabash, served 7 years in the U.S. Army, and served the Wabash Police Department for 21 years, on the City Council for 16, and you've been mayor for 10 years since, I believe, 2016. So congrats on the 10 years as mayor. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you pretty well covered it all. Father of three and stepfather of three, and currently we have 13 grandchildren. So
Oh, yeah.
it's a busy life. I come to work so I can rest.
Yeah, come to work so you can rest.
Yeah.
Still doing family get-togethers at the house, or are you outsourcing it to some place that doesn't involve so much cleanup?
We've For the first time this year we outsourced it to my stepdaughter's house over in Bluffton. So
Yeah.
yeah, that made cleanup really easy.
So I'm one of nine, and me and all my older siblings have kids. Even some of the kids have kids. So it's a ton of kids, and I think last year we did it at the REMC building,
Yeah.
and it just made cleanup a lot easier, and we weren't stepping on each other, and it was nice. So real quick, I just want to ask our listeners, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow. It's free, so we want to provide you guys value, and if you like the podcast, like and share and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. So just about some of the Wabash news, it sounds like the Four Seasons Social Club, it's owned and operated by, I think, Kyle, and is it Aubrey Williams?
Aubrey Williams, yes.
Yep, right there on the corner of Miami and Canal, I believe.
Yes.
So that's new. It's 21 and up. Sounds like they have their alcohol license. Have you been to it yet?
I have not. I want to partake in first the darts, which I picked up when I was in the military. So they've got some dart boards and a golf simulator and various other activities. And a lot of seating where you can just sit and hang out and relax, which is good.
So Kyle and Aubrey actually gave me a tour of it. I didn't try out the golf simulator, but it seemed like those, I don't know what you would describe it as, the pocket windows
Yes.
in the second building. Like they turned those into like private sitting areas for groups of people. And a couple of my friends went out this past Saturday, and they said they really liked it. So one thing I didn't realize is it sounds like there's some type of a partnership between Moondog, is it Tim's Thai?
Tim's Thai.
Tim's Thai, and maybe, what's the pizza place down there? Not Goodfellas.
Pizza King.
Pizza King.
Yeah.
Yep. So it sounds like you can order from them, and they'll deliver it to Four Seasons.
Yeah.
If I understood that. Kyle did not tell me that. Friends told me that. So, but if that's, I mean, it sounds accurate. It sounds like they got food and they just walked over, because I think Tim's Thai is connected.
It's connected, yeah. The Kyle and Aubrey own the building that Tim's Thai is in.
Yep. And then there's the Volt Family Fun. That's over on South Side. So it's like you have the adult social area to get together, and then you have the Volt Family Fun on South Side. So if you guys are looking for something to do, Four Season Social Club is new and has a golf simulator. And then for the family, the Volt Family Fun on the South Side.
Absolutely.
First Friday, March 7th. It's coming up quick. 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. That sound correct?
Is that date correct?
March 7th. I thought so. Let me just double check here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. My grandson's birthday is the 6th.
No,
I thought
yeah.
that was on Friday.
Yeah, I must have put it down wrong. Friday's the 6th,
right.
not the 7th.
Your first correction.
Yes, first correction.
Yeah, so this Friday, this coming Friday, we'll be doing First Friday.
Okay. Yep, and then there's the Isaac Walton League is doing like a hike and stargazing on March 20th. The date's correct. And that starts at 7:30. So just some things for the family to get out and go do if you're looking for an activity. Wabash growth, you can weigh in here.
Oh, yeah.
So like from my list, I just have like a couple of short things, like Dickey's Car Wash, which it doesn't sound like it's opened yet, but it will be open soon.
Not yet. I believe April 14th is the target date for the opening. I did get a message from Grow Wabash County that Dickey's would like me and my vehicle to be the first one through the car wash. So
Okay.
I need to go out and maybe drive on our railroad overpass and get my car dirty. So
Mm-hmm.
at least it'll be worth my while to go through Dickey's that way. So
Yeah. And I think there's a Dickey's in Peru and Huntington.
Huntington, yes. Yeah, both of those, and then so this one will open up, and then we've got new owners of what used to be the auto laundry downtown, besides Scooters, is
Okay.
now Mocha Shine
Mm-hmm.
car wash. They've made a lot of improvements down there and put
Mm-hmm.
in kind of a drink station before you go through the car wash, so you can
Mm-hmm.
grab a cup of coffee or whatever and partake of that as you go through the automatic car wash.
Mm-hmm. And I think they have donuts too.
Yep.
Uh,
Tuesday through Saturday, maybe. I
okay.
think they're getting DeRozier donuts out of Peru delivered to them.
Okay. Some of them ended up down at the county. So there was a box of Mocha Shine donuts.
Nice.
So lucky recipients
To
of
the
that.
county sheriff's department?
Yep.
Surely not law enforcement.
Yeah, not law
Donuts.
enforcement and donuts. Uh, then there's the Gebhardt Car Wash. That's opened up. And then the JJ Travel Plaza's coming along. I saw they put in like a little gravel area, but I don't know the timeline for that.
We're hoping to break ground here this spring on that. And there's a lot of dirt that's got to be moved. We're still working with some utilities. I've got a meeting Thursday morning with the JJ folks, their engineers, and Indiana American Water to determine. When a project like that comes together, you've got to make sure all your utilities are in place. And they have to have, obviously, fire suppression. So we're
Yeah.
working through getting a fire hydrant positioned on that site for them and everything. So there's a lot of work that goes into every business that comes into town.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited to have a new gas station right there on 24.
Yeah.
Hoosier Point's nice, but it'll be nice to have a big, because is this going to be just, is this going to be targeted at truckers or not?
It's going to be targeted at truckers. There'll be an area. They're going to have scales on site, parking, overnight parking for trucking, and they're calling it a Travel Plaza. So we've worked through setting up a waste dump for RVs and things of that nature that'll be connected to
Okay.
the city's wastewater system. So there's
Okay.
a lot of work that's going into it, a lot of planning. There will be some sort of fast food restaurant within that
Okay.
convenience store also. Not sure exactly what that is yet, but they bought the former Gallahan's truck stop on 31 just north of 24 in Peru.
Okay.
And they also own the BP station that's next to the Miami Correctional Facility and Grissom Air Base.
Really? I didn't realize okay, so you're talking about the gas station on the east side of the road, just north of 24
Yes.
on 31,
Yeah.
and then the one by Grissom Air Base on the west side of the road.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Well, they're really expanding then.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Because-
and they've got Huntington locations also. That's where they're based out of.
Okay. Yeah, because when I think of JJ's, I also think of like Casey's out of like North Manchester and Marion. So I like both of them a lot. And then the East Street overpass, you already mentioned it once. That seems like it's coming right along.
Yeah, it's coming along. We anticipated putting the base binder coat of asphalt down December 4th, and then Mother Nature threw us a curveball the weekend before and dumped 8 inches of snow on us, and so the asphalt plant got closed down. They were kind of keeping it open for that, and And really, I'm thankful. There's been some issues with some of the concrete work that's already been done that has reared its ugly head. That we need to pull some of its sidewalk and curb cracking and sinking, and so we're gonna do our level best to get them to rip all that out, and let's do it right and re-pour it. So we anticipate this summer having that railroad overpass open, which will be a blessing because in I want to say the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had 3 or 4 trains stop and block every crossing in town, and it's been a nightmare. Of course, I heard about it because I control the railroad also.
Oh yeah, you're in control of everything.
Exactly. So, that trains have gotten longer over the years, and basically what they're doing is coupling 2 trains together. As they pass through town and you see an engine in the middle of the train, you might as well put your vehicle in park because you're going to be there for 6 to 8 minutes usually. Used to be the longest train I ever timed going through Wabash was about 3.5 minutes, and they've doubled in size, and that I look at it, the economy's going good when there's trains going through town because they're moving freight from coast to coast. So I always try to look at the glass half full instead of half empty. So
Yeah. I think I saw a slogan one time. It said something along the lines of when Norfolk Southern runs, the economy runs. So
absolutely.
yeah, I could see that.
Yep.
And then the Bowen Health Center. I mean, that's springing up. I'm shocked about how fast that came up out of nowhere.
Yeah, they're getting really close, and I anticipate spring opening on Bowen Health also, which is going to be a tremendous asset to the community. I mean, they're already there, but now they're going to have a facility that's conducive to what they're doing. They took an old elementary school and retrofitted it, and it's worked, but this will make them more efficient.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me that they're building, especially because I feel like their services are in more demand all the time.
Absolutely.
Now, before we get too far along, I want to give this to you. It's a Parker Jotter pin.
Nice.
You can open that. It has your name and title engraved on it, and that's just Lundquist saying thank you for coming onto the podcast.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
The inspector got a flashlight. You're getting a pin for all the mayor duties that you probably have and get. So
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
So moving into your background and journey into public service, I'll just kind of give the ball to you and let you kind of run with that and start out.
Yeah, so I'm a graduate of Northfield High School in Wabash County. We lived on the wrong side of Helms Creek. If I cross the creek, those friends across the creek went to Wabash City Schools, and I grew up on Crown Hill Drive in Wabash. Still within the city limits, but it was a different school district, and so that's why I graduated from Northfield. Didn't, my senior year in high school, I turned 18 in March of '82 and made the decision without telling my parents that I was going to join the Army. I just popped it on them at dinner one night. So I graduated at the end of May, and I had about 2 months off in the summertime, June and July, and August 8th of '82, I left for basic training, and fully intended to make the Army a career, but about 1986, Congress started making cuts to Defense Department, and there was no opportunity for promotion past the rank of E5, which Sergeant E5, that's where I was at, and only making, I want to say $19,000 a year. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to advance. I might as well go home and find another career. And so I was home from August '89 to February of '94, and I worked at various different jobs within the community. In '93, I saw an article they were hiring for the police department, and I applied and got hired, and the rest is what they say history at that point. Did almost 22 years. I was 2 months shy of 22 years when I retired. Retired December 1st of 2015 after winning an election as mayor. There's a statute that I was going from one pension program, so the police and firefighters pension program, and then going into civilian perf. And I needed a 30-day break in order to be able to draw my pension when I turned 52.
Okay.
Had I not taken that break and worked until, December 31st, they would have kept my pension for an additional 3 years, and I couldn't draw until I was 55. So I took a month off. I didn't really take a month off, but fortunately, my predecessor, Mayor Bob Van Laningham, allowed me to come down to the office and kind of get my feet wet a little bit on what was going on. And I had served on the city council for 16 years. One of the reasons, as a police officer, I was able to see sections of the city that most average folks don't see. I mean, you see the whole gamut of, and I could see areas where we needed to make some improvements. And in my time in office, I've tried to do my level best to improve the various parts of town that needed improving. And it's something different every day in the mayor's office, so I've really enjoyed it. And most days I love it. Some days, as long as I don't look at social media, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know.
As long as you're not the fault of increasing gas prices.
Right, which I get blamed for frequently.
Yeah. Okay, and mayor since 2016, and probably it'd be a good opportunity to go into your favorite moments in the military and law enforcement and as the mayor, because those are all three huge career accomplishments, and I'm sure they're packed full of good memories.
Yeah.
And they can be funny too, so.
Yeah. Well, in the military, and I can say this about both the military and law enforcement, it's like having additional families. Because the guys in the military, a lot of guys I went through boot camp with, and then we went to school in our military intelligence school. And then we all got, not all of us, but, maybe half a dozen to 10 of us all got stationed together, our first duty assignment at Fort Hood, Texas. So it was kind of, we went through it together. And, the Army and their infinite wisdom, I put in for a transfer to Korea because you had to have what they call a short tour. So you'd go to Korea for a year, get that out of the way, and then a long overseas tour would be Europe or somewhere like that. So I put in to go to Korea, and the Army called me up and said, well, we don't have any slots in Korea, but we've got 2 slots in Europe, Maastricht, Netherlands, and Naples, Italy. And I'm like, I'll take Naples, Italy. It just sounded warmer. And then I looked at the globe, and I'm like, well, it's kind of on the same parallel with Indiana. So we didn't get any snow, but in the winter it was cold and rainy.
Yeah.
So the weather climate was really similar. So I left and some other guys left and went to Germany, bases in Germany and stuff, and we were able to still stay in contact,
Okay.
but we didn't see each other as much as we'd like to. But I was afforded the opportunity to go to leadership school in Germany, so I touched base with some of them. And recently, one of the guys I was stationed at Fort Hood with, he's from Tennessee originally, and he was coming to Fort Wayne for some training, so we connected, and I drove up there, and we went out to dinner and reminisced, and a lot of fun times. I should have invested in Anheuser-Busch before I went in, I think.
Yeah.
Because we sure consumed a lot of product
Yeah.
that they do. So so that was a good time in life. And if I had to do it over again, I'd do it over again. I may go in the Air Force because I found out really quickly that as them being the newest branch of the U.S. military, they had the best bases, the best barracks, the best food. I wasn't complaining, but I had a nephew go into the Air Force, and his career benefited him when he came back to the civilian world. He's doing really well for himself. So, it's a lot of fun times. And then the police department, same thing. Big family. You see a lot of guys retire, and we still stay in contact with some of the guys I was first on the force with, and run into each other in town, and the ones that aren't working at Reynolds Oil, because there's a lot of retired police officers down there, it seems like. Funny stories, a lot of them on the police department. It's just some of the things you see and deal with. And I remember one night in the old county jail on third shift, we had somebody had taken somebody in on a operating while intoxicated charge, and he claimed to be deaf, that he couldn't hear us. And
Okay.
so that was a challenge, and there was an officer, I won't name any names, but standing behind him in the old, the room where we did the breathalyzers and stuff.
With the bars.
Yeah, and this officer was standing behind him, and he kept claiming he couldn't hear us, and this officer had a bodily function that made a noise, and this guy's head snapped around, and he was like, "Caught you."
Yeah.
So he
You're
could
not
hear
deaf.
us the whole time. So that's probably that was probably one of the funnier stories. But a lot happened in my career from '94 to 2015. It just, the state of law enforcement changed so much. When I first came on the department, our department only had 3 patrol cars, 1 for each shift.
Really?
And they were just getting into having computers. We had our own dispatchers. I had to set dispatch, and we had a typewriter to type our daily log on, and then it would go into a binder. And a lot of people find that hard to believe, but those police vehicles were left a lot to be desired because all 3 shifts were using them.
Yeah.
There were no take-home cars at that time, which we found, take-home cars are a deterrent and a benefit in your community. If they're parked in front of an officer's house, it's proven that it reduces crime. So, a lot of good things happened over that, but the advent of social media and cell phones kind of took its toll on that part of the career. I remember one of my last calls in 2015. I got called to domestic, and there was he's 18, 19 years old, son of the female at the house. I pulled up, and he pulled his phone out and started videotaping me, and I'm like, what are you doing? Knew the kid. He's like, well, just in case you do something wrong. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's, we're not here to abuse people.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, you called us.
Yeah. You called me here.
Yeah, we didn't just roll up. So, things change over the years, and they change on a daily basis now, too. So, in that career.
Yeah. So when you were talking about dispatch, was dispatch still in the old jail?
County dispatch was. We didn't have central dispatch at that point. So,
okay.
So the Wabash Police Department had 7 dispatchers.
Okay.
Ourselves, and we were separate and on a different frequency. When I first came on, Peru, Huntington, and Wabash were all on the same radio frequency. So
really?
We could hear Peru and Huntington traffic in Wabash, and they could hear us, which made, in a way, it was good, because if something started in either one of those cities and started heading towards us, we were hearing the radio traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what year we went to Central Dispatch, because we moved from downtown to where the police department's located now in the fall of '94. Luckily, I was at the police academy, and I didn't have to move anything to the new building, which worked out well for me. And we needed more space, and the job was changing so much. I don't know if there's a small building across from Beacon Credit Union, kind of beside Crystal Flash. Looks like a house. That was our police station.
Really?
So there were only
one of the. I think I know what you're talking about. It's just,
there's like a gold and silver place there Ravenscroft's has, and I think Randy Zimmerman's moved her office down there now too. So that was the actual police station when I first hired on, and very small. It's basically a 3-bedroom house on a basement. So all our lockers and everything were down in the basement, and just office space for one detective's office. 2 detectives shared one office, and not a lot of room to do reports and things like that.
Yeah.
So, it's ever evolving.
Yeah.
Always.
That's wild to compare to like what we have with the new sheriff's department, where to think that you guys were in that small of an area, and then to move out to where you are now.
Right.
Yeah, that's neat. And now, I'm assuming North Manchester had their own dispatch up there, and then they all consolidated to what we call Central Dispatch today.
Well, the city and the county consolidated to Central Dispatch. Manchester was separate for a number of years, and I'd say it's been since I took office as mayor that they consolidated down with Central Dispatch. So there again, the technology has made it such that you can have Central Dispatch and be effective and efficient with your dispatch.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm learning something new about the original police department. I didn't know that was ever there. I thought you guys had been there for a long time.
No.
Over on Manchester Avenue. I didn't realize you used to be on Wabash Street.
Yeah, they've been out there, well, I guess it'd be 32 years now. That seems hard to believe.
I know.
32 years.
It's crazy.
Cow.
And then to think, so like I've been with the county for about 7 years.
Yeah.
I started out at the old jail on Main Street, and then we moved out to the new jail shortly after I got hired. So maybe 2 or 3 years now, and yeah, time
about 3 years.
yeah, that's time definitely flies, and we're definitely blessed to have what we have today. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, so what are some of the wins and things you'd highlight when it comes to Wabash County? Like the biggest points, we'll just go over that, since you've been mayor in the last 10 years, like the things that you look at and you say, this was a big deal for Wabash and it was a turning point that put us on an upward trajectory.
Well, when I took office, January of 2016, we were midway through the Stellar Communities process.
Mm-hmm.
That became a point of contention during the campaign when I was running for mayor, because we were designated in 2014, and then there were some people saying, well, this is a Ponzi scheme because nothing's happening, and not realizing that all the projects that we were doing took 12 to 18 months of planning,
Mm-hmm.
engineering, and things of that nature. So when I took office, it was upon me to see all those projects come to fruition. So we did the Wabash Street corridor. So we kind of rebuilt Wabash Street. We put the archway over the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
put the flower planters along both sides of the street to kind of beautify things. And seeing those projects, Rock City Loft was another big
Mm-hmm.
part of Stellar, and then the historic renovation of the Eagles Theater. So part of Stellar was to renovate the exterior of the Eagles Theater, and that kind of tied in with what Richard Ford had done with the renovation of the old Indiana Hotel into the Charlie Creek Inn,
Mm-hmm.
kind of tying everything in our downtown together. And then right after I took office, I don't know if you remember this or not, but we had a bunch of, I don't know if they were Bradford pear trees or Cleveland pear trees, just lining the streets. And
Mm-hmm.
shortly after I took office on our first Friday, those trees used to be filled with sparrows, and the cacophony of all these sparrows chirping, and then they'd excrete on the sidewalks, and I saw a toddler reach down and grab some bird poop, and toddlers automatically go to their mouth.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, we got to do something about this. So I came up with a plan with Hoffman Nurseries to create planter boxes that have electrical in them, perimeter lighting, and then we put slabs on the rims of them that can be used as seating. Took the trees out, replaced those with these planter boxes, and that way we don't have a bunch of benches,
Mm-hmm.
on your sidewalks, which you have to be cognizant of American with Disabilities Act compliance. You got to be able to get wheelchairs and strollers, and if you go down there on First Fridays and you see the large number of people and families down there, it makes perfect sense. So that was another milestone. I had a lot of pushback from people downtown. We don't want to get rid of the trees, so I initially did the first half block by City Hall and put these planters in just so that they could see. And as soon as we got those completed, they were like, well, when are you going to do the rest of it?
Yeah.
And so we didn't get any grant funding or anything. And then the pavers downtown that they had installed back in the late 90s, when Mayor McCallum was in office, began crumbling because they weren't the proper brick type that would withstand the winters and everything. So we've replaced all those. Again, Hoffman Nursery came in and did that for us too. So it just makes walkability downtown that much better. And then events. And if somebody, in the summertime, if somebody wants to bring their laptop outside the building and sit outside, they've got the opportunity to do that, and they can plug it into these planter boxes and the outlets and continue working. So that's worked out really well. So those are some of the highlights early on. We've progressively continued to try to attract new businesses in. 2018, I took a group of locals to Japan, and we did a week in Japan and a week in China. There was a smaller, they said it was a smaller city in China that wanted to do a potential sister city relationship. I think there's 1.6 million people in that city, and that's comparable in size, according to them, to Wabash with 10,000 people. So,
Okay.
We've continued to communicate with them. The political stage has changed somewhat. So we're, instead of a sister city, we're more of a friendship city right now. And they create a lot of lighting within the city. That's our big industry, which I thought fit well with Wabash being
The first electrically.
first electrically lighted city in the U.S. or the world. There's some challenges to that because Cleveland had some electric lights, street lights at that time, but what they did in Wabash lit up the entire city from just the courthouse. So we've worked on that, and I've taken 4 trips to Japan now, and hopefully we'll see some investment in this next year from those trips. And I can tell you, working with different foreign governments to get some foreign direct investment in your community takes time. And it's almost like a courtship, your first visit is an introduction, your second visit, you're sort of dating, your third visit, you get engaged, and then hopefully you end up getting married. So most people don't realize that Japan is the largest foreign investor in our state. There's over 300 and I think last count was over 340 Japanese-owned companies in the state of Indiana. So, and that's, the big ones that everybody talks about are Subaru, Honda, and Toyota. But each one of those companies have suppliers that invest in the community also.
Okay. Yeah, I did not know that Japan was the biggest foreign investor in Indiana.
And in Wabash County, we've got 2 German companies. Granite Parts bought CFC Distributing up on 15. Kallenborn Abrasist in Urbana is a German-owned company. Bionutrients is a partnership from an Italian company and Midwest Poultry Services. OG Intertech used to be Japanese-owned. They sold in the last few years to a local person in North Manchester, but they're still doing the same thing, and they're expanding and hiring, and things are moving right along. And then made a couple trips to Germany to a large trade show, and I'm getting ready in May to go back to Washington, D.C. to a conference called Select USA that's put on by the Department of Commerce. And foreign companies come to that show and about every state is represented there. So you basically have a booth, and these foreign companies come through, and you show them what you have available. And since I've taken office, we've created literature in Japanese and German, and we can translate about anything. And we've got all the metric equivalencies on land and buildings and everything else. So we're prepared. If these foreign companies want to come in, we can say, okay, well, we can offer you this many square meters of building, and worked with local companies like Hagerman Construction to make sure that they're on board with all that also.
Okay.
So,
And that probably ties into Grow Wabash County.
yeah,
And the development and the spec buildings out there on Ringgold Avenue.
absolutely.
Okay. Because I think there's one for sale now, and Quality Electric bought one.
Kendall Electric
Kindle. Okay.
is putting their new kind of a regional distribution headquarters out there.
Okay.
And they only needed 18,000 square feet. The spec building we have now is 30,000 square feet, and that's expandable to up to 90,000 square feet.
Okay.
Can be added on to. So,
Yep. And you guys are looking for bigger businesses to come in and fill those shoes and create new jobs, which is the purpose of Grow Wabash County and leadership, and kind of
absolutely.
aiming to bring more jobs, which should bring people. And
Yeah, so Grow Wabash County is our local economic development group. In 2017, we combined the Economic Development Group, which used to be called EDGE, with the Chamber of Commerce. So we brought those two entities together, and they're upstairs from City Hall. So it's kind of one-stop shopping when you come to City Hall. We can talk economic development, Chamber of Commerce, incentives from the city, and everything in one building.
okay, so if I understand it correctly, Wabash City used to have their own program like Grow Wabash County, and then it combined, coupled it all together underneath one entity.
So the Chamber of Commerce was one entity.
Okay.
EDGE, or the Economic Development Group, was in it one entity. They shared office space upstairs,
Okay.
but we were paying two CEOs, so we were looking for some efficiency, and we combined those, consolidate them.
Yep.
Let's call it that.
Consolidated.
Consolidated those two together, minimized staff, one CEO, and we did have one vice president back when we combined. And now that vice president, Tennille Zartman, is the CEO and president of Grow Wabash County. And her and her staff do a fantastic job. We're kind of, Tennille and I are joined at the hip, so to speak, because they staff our redevelopment commission for the city. So kind of a dual role, so we interact multiple times during the week.
Okay. So moving kind of towards real estate, it sounds like, I was talking to Bob, it sounds like the Riverfront Apartments, that's for sure, and they're going to start building maybe sometime over the summer.
Believe so. The site along the riverfront was a former junkyard, and there's some minor lead contamination that I believe the location of it was where cars from wrecks would be brought into a bullpen and set. And I think we had some lead contamination from busted batteries and that leaked into the ground. So I've worked with the Indiana Brownfields Commission at the state to get that cleaned up. The application was done late last year, went to the EPA to get approved and signatures on the application, and then the federal government shut down, and so everything got put on hold. We were hoping to break ground early this year, or maybe even over the winter. And because the government shut down, everything just came to a screeching halt. Government reopened. We finally got our application back up there, and I was notified last week. We're just waiting on the signature from the EPA. The cleanup organization's ready to come in and do that, but they can't do it until the contract's signed. So
Okay.
once the city has to own that property in order for these funds to pay for the cleanup. So I can't transfer the property until it's cleaned up. We've got a developer in place that's going to put 100 apartment units down there that'll overlook the Riverwalk and the Wabash River. I think it's going to be a great amenity. We haven't had any new apartments since probably, I'm going to say, late 70s, and Meadowbrook added an addition back at that time, late 70s, early 80s. And we need some market rate apartments for people, empty nesters. I know you're in the real estate business, so you guys think about this. And my goal is to get some apartments built for young professionals and empty nesters that don't want to deal with home upkeep, lawn upkeep, things of that nature. So the goal is you get some people that want to sell their home, which may be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That opens that up at a lower price point for young families to move into. And they don't have to, because we know the cost of building new homes is astronomical, I'd say, right now. And when we try to build new homes and we talk about, there's a misconception between affordable housing, workforce housing, and low-income housing, and subsidized maybe, and we try to do things to build workforce housing, affordable housing, but that's at $275,000 now for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Why can't we get something that's $100,000? Well, cost of materials, inflation, that plays a big role into it. And then you got to add the cost of a lot in there also. So that just drives the price up even more.
Yeah, and then to topple it, if you're in the county, you have a septic and a well, and I absolutely agree. I definitely think Wabash needs some new housing. I think those Riverfront Apartments will be awesome.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like the cleanup for GDX is done, and you're waiting for, that's going to be all housing, correct?
Yeah, we're going to, the first phase of that will be roughly 100 apartment units also market rate, and then some single-family residences on part of that. And there is a portion of that property, it's 30 acres total, and I would guess there's 5 to 6 acres. Although we've cleaned up the contamination on it, you still can't build on that just because it was so contaminated. So the plan, developer that's working on that, the plan is to make that a green space, maybe some playground and things of that nature. It's not contaminated that if you walk on it, you're going to be affected by it, but you could not because of vapors that may come up out of the soil. You can't build a building on top of it. So you could put a retail space in there. Not very conducive to, in that area, to having a retail space on it. But yeah, we're looking forward to that one too. Will probably be a TIF bond coming within the next year to develop that also. But there again, we're waiting on the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, IDEM, to release the restrictive covenants now that we've got it cleaned up that says, okay, you can go ahead and build on it. So looking forward to that one too. And the access to US 24 from that location, in my mind, we could have young professionals that work in Fort Wayne that could commute 45 minutes and be at their job and live in Wabash. So go ahead and go make your money in Fort Wayne or Marion or Warsaw or wherever, but come back home and spend it in Wabash to benefit us.
Yeah, because I was talking to a potential client in that area, and they described Stitt Street as a completely different area as what it is than what it is today.
Right.
That it was bustling and it was booming and thriving, and that was when the GDX factory was there.
Yeah.
And then since it's left, has not maintained that same level of foot traffic.
Yeah.
Which is expected, right? If you don't have hundreds of employees going in and out every day, it's gonna affect the foot traffic in the area.
When that factory closed down in 2010, 2008, 2010, I think there were 480 jobs. The issue was we didn't have the industry in Wabash that had open positions to accept those jobs. Of course, 2008 was the big housing catastrophe. So those folks that worked there, if they didn't transfer to another General Tire GDX plant, they had to find work elsewhere. So we lost some population due to that. Whereas now, we got Ford Meter Box expanding.
Yeah.
There's going to be roughly 100 to 150 jobs there. Some of these other facilities they're always hiring right now, it seems like. Bulldog Battery. There's just a wealth of quick fact. We got a lot of aluminum recycling in Wabash. What most people don't know, in the United States, we rank third in aluminum recycling in Wabash.
Really?
Yeah. Los Angeles, California is number one. Cook County, Illinois is number two. And Wabash County is number three. Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
Those are big numbers for a little town.
Huge numbers.
Yeah.
And we've got some other investment coming in from Real Alloy. They got a Department of Energy grant, and they're going to create a plant that will be a zero waste stream recycling of aluminum dross and some of the byproducts from aluminum smelting, which now goes to a landfill.
Okay.
So they'll be able to recycle that product and get 3 or 4 other products out of it that they can sell on the market. So
okay.
That's going to be a huge deal on the south side of town too.
Yeah. And in that area of town, John Lundquist just had a client who bought the old, I'm trying to remember, I don't want to call it the 5-Hour Energy plant, just south of the tracks on Bond Street, there on the west side.
Plastics recycling.
And I think he's out of Illinois, came in, bought
Crystal Lake.
And then I believe they're fully functioning, operating, and recycling plastic, and has added a couple jobs to the community. And
for sure, they take, could be old plastic, I don't say old, mismanufactured gas tanks that are made out of plastic, and they will grind them down and pelletize them into plastic pellets that's then recycled to make new plastic. And different items like that. So we're really big in our community on recycling.
Yeah. Looking forward, what are you most excited about? So is there any big projects in the future that you believe are going to kick Wabash up and continue to kick Wabash up in the right direction?
Yeah, we've been working for about 2 years on a project that we're hoping to have an announcement in April of this year. If it comes to fruition, it'll be the largest investment in Wabash County ever. I can't say a whole lot about it right now.
Yeah, I know.
But I wish I could, because it's going to be exciting. I anticipate a couple hundred jobs
Okay.
when it's fully up and functioning. So when Ford Meter Box bought the 90-acre parcel where they're expanding a new foundry, I immediately started searching for additional land for industry. And we were able to purchase 232 acres between State Road 115 and Wedcore, where 5 Hour Energy has a plant, and the RAMC's there. So we bought all that land, 232 acres, to enlarge that industrial park, and we already have 155 acres under option for a project. So we anticipate making, like I said, making an announcement soon, and any jobs are good jobs.
Yeah.
And we're currently attracting businesses that are paying an average of $28 an hour or more. Most of our jobs that we're adding on are paying that much. So hopefully, obviously, we think that's a livable wage, especially in Wabash and Wabash County. Real estate's been hard to come by for a few years in our county. I know at one point for a number of months throughout the entire county, I'd always ask Bob, and he'd be like, "Yeah, we got 35 homes that aren't under contract or, have offers on them." And then I'd go and I'd look, and I'm like, okay, so we've got homes that are up here. They're hard to attain. And then we got homes down here, and there's nothing really in the middle.
Yeah.
So I've been working, we've demolished some homes within the city, and we're trying to get possession of those lots. And I'm working with Heartland Career Center to potentially build some infill homes on those lots. So we're getting construction trade experience through our high schools, and partnering with Builders Mart on that. It's going to be a pretty unique project, I think, when we get it done. Now, we don't have a ton of lots. We may have 3 right now that we could build on, but every journey starts with the first step. So
yeah, I would, as a realtor, I would love to see that in Wabash, because there's a gap. I mean,
for sure.
And the houses we see in that, 125,000 to 225,000. I mean, they sell for top dollar.
Yeah.
I sold my house on Lindlawn for $171 per square foot a year and a half, not quite a year and a half ago, but that's outrageous.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great for me, and the person who bought it was happy, but it's not.
And that probably wasn't even 1,000 square foot.
It was 1,100 upstairs.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
And then, but I mean, it was only 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean, it wasn't anything humongous. So definitely the housing is going to be a big deal, and I'm really looking forward to it in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Do you have anything you want to wrap up on? Anything you want to contribute, or you want to touch base before we close out?
No, we're moving in the right direction in Wabash, and I look at communities surrounding us, and over my 10 years, I think we've become the envy of the state. Because the key thing is, I communicate with county officials in the town of North Manchester, and we sit down every month and we talk about things and how we get things accomplished in our community. I can't do it myself, so I rely on Visit Wabash County, Grow Wabash County, Downtown Wabash Incorporated, Manchester Alive. We all communicate together. Community Foundation of Wabash County is a great resource also. to get some of these projects that we're thinking about pushed down the road. So if you don't live in Wabash, you should.
Yeah, come move to Wabash.
Yeah.
Look us up. We're happy to help you. And I mean, I grew up in Wabash. This is where I was raised at. I graduated from Northfield, and I have to agree. I love the Riverwalk. I love downtown. The Eagles Theater was a huge deal. Like, that is a awesome resource. I mean, the fact that the city was able to save that was a huge deal, because a lot of the other small towns did not, and it dilapidated, and now some of them are still on the markets and some have sold.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a huge deal. And the 20s, we're just really blessed to have a really nice downtown, and I'm thankful for it. And you should come visit.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Don't hesitate to reach out to Lundquist Real Estate and Appraisals. We'd be happy to help you. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Thank you so much.